Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
What do we got, Murad?
Well, for the new year, we're gonna do a dish that is short ribs. Before we start cooking the short ribs, I'm gonna build a brine, and it's really important to build a good brine, and I'll talk about that and why it's so important. But the one thing that I want to mention before we go into that is that in Morocco we don't do that.
You don't brine.
We absolutely don't use brines, and we don't brine meats at all. The reason being is that we like to build flavors one layer above the other using spices directly.
Okay.
But I do think if you're using really good ingredients like this beautiful piece of meat, I want to be able to taste the meat. So
Right.
I'd like to introduce the spices and the flavors, in a very quiet way,
Yeah.
through a cold brine. So we got the water here, and then we add the sugar, and then the salt. And with this stuff, so we use chili de arbol. You can
Yeah.
use any kind of chilies
Okay.
you want, as long as they have a little bit of heat. You need a
Uh-huh.
little spice, you need a little bit of contrast to stand up to the other spices. So these will go in there. Here we go.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have some bay leaves, dried bay leaves. And these are whole coriander seeds. And I don't toast the spices either.
You don't.
Yeah, I don't, because I
Wow.
don't want it to be really powerful.
Right, right.
With other preparations, we do toast them, but
Yeah.
we don't do it directly on the heat.
Uh-huh.
We do it in the same pot that we cook it in. So we got some cloves here, and we got some peppercorns whole, and some cumin seeds, and star anise.
Thank you.
So the whole thing will go in there, and we use just basically half the water that we need. Once it comes to a simmer, what we're gonna do is, let it sit there for a while so that the flavors will meld, and then you get all the spices, releasing their essential oils, and then we're gonna shock it with ice cubes. So basically, we just take
Yeah.
half of the water, we infuse the spices, then we add the ice cubes so we can expedite the time that we need to wait
Right.
for the brine.
So just dump it on in?
Just dump it in there.
All right.
So hopefully this will do it. You don't need to refrigerate it or anything. Just adding the ice cubes will bring it down, and it will be cool. It shouldn't be like warm at all.
Yeah.
You don't want any cooking to take place in the brine. If it's not cool enough, you just take it, transfer it to another pot that is cooler, and put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
And you can expedite that. Once that happens, you just take the piece of meat and you just put it in there, and you just let it chill in there for about 6 hours at least.
6 hours.
So when we put the sugar with the water and the spices, you need to bring it up to a simmer, and the purpose of that is to make sure that all the salts and the sugar dissolve, and you don't have like clumps of salt and sugar attached to the meat. And that happens, through the heat that
Right.
develops into the brine. And then we cool the brine down with the ice, and we marinate the meat in there, and it will be ready to be cooked in about six hours or so.
Awesome.
That's it. And Michelle, just think how happy Teddy, your husband, would be when he went in the refrigerator
And saw
saw
this.
a big bowl of brine short ribs.
He'd go, thank God I married the right girl.
Sitting right next to the preserved lions.
I'll
Thank
remember
you.
this.
Thank you, Murad.
Oh, thank you for having me.